Good morning, guys. Today is the day. Dad is coming in. It's another winter, snowy, blowy, cold day. Nothing better to do. So Dad's going to come in for lunch and we're going to watch Missing 411, the UFO connection.
Oh, Jesus.
Snowing enough for you?
It's snowing off. What's up, buddy? What are you doing, eh? What are you doing? Chasing any rabbits?
Lasagna soup. Try that.
Oh, yeah. Looks like chili to me. Very good. Yeah, good.
Alright, guys. We are going to watch Missing 411, the UFO connection. I've never seen a UFO. He has. He's mentioned it a few times, but why don't you just recap for anybody new watching this? What did you see and what year was it?
Oh, I've seen more than one. One time we were coming way back out Saugus Road, which comes from Lake Talon back. That was your grandfather and me and Pete Langell. We were in the old Volkswagen. We'd been back fishing. We come out, and right over Saugus Road, it looked like a little barbecue. It was round. It was only maybe 75 feet in the air. You could see the three legs on it. It was dark, and a green light underneath that. And slowly it just came over across the road. We went, what the heck is that? Why I'd say it looked like a barbecue. It was the old, when you had a round barbecue, that was a charcoal barbecue. That's what it looked like, a round one.
Right, but I mean...
It wasn't like I know what you're saying.
Like an early prototype of a drone or something.
Well, I thought, but who had a drone back then?
The government did.
Well, the government did. Why did they have that flying over fishing season back in no man's land at Saugus? Somebody had it flying.
Because there were guys out there poaching like you guys, and they knew it.
We weren't poaching nothing. We were back fishing.
One of the most confusing and frustrating investigations by law enforcement is related to people who disappear in highly rural locations, forests, plains, deserts, and regions with few residences. We are staring at unconventional possibilities supported by witnesses, video, and most recently, our own government.
Okay, so they've started off talking about Skinwalker Ranch. Did you watch any of that series on TV?
Yeah, I did, yeah. I watched some of that. It was quite interesting, yeah, for sure.
I find it interesting because they actually do scientific experiments.
Can't say it's freaky. It's things we just don't understand. I believe it's probably full of aliens. They've been living there for millions of years. Who knows?
Well, even the natives have drawings on the rocks showing, alien type figures and spacecraft and things like that.
That's nothing new. It's been there for not centuries, thousands and thousands of years.
If you guys don't watch The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, check it out. I think they're on the season 4, and they've had cows die on the show. Strange.
They die from trauma.
And there'll be a flash of light above the cow. One of the cameras will see this before, and then the next thing you know, the cow's lying there sick, and then it dies. So it's weird. It's strange.
Well, they were suffering from different things. They're looking in from...
they had radiation poisoning.
Radiation poisoning is what he had because they realized whatever they're looking at, they said they were being radiated all the time. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
So they pick up strange signals and frequencies there on radio equipment. They've been radiated a few times. They've got Geiger counters that go skyrocketing. The one guy got burns on his face and his hands, just very small radiation burns. All kinds of weird stuff going on.
How far is it from Roswell?
I don't know.
But I wouldn't doubt the government knows all about it. They just don't want anything brought out.
So the show is case-based, and the first guy is Ray Solomon. And I just stopped it because they're talking about Vancouver, BC, which is Canada, and his wife's talking about him before he disappeared going up there with rifles and pistols. Well, in Canada, we're not allowed to carry pistols, so what's going on there?
Well, I belong to the gun club, and I'm a pistol owner, but you can only carry your pistol concealed in your case from your home to the range and right back from the range. You can't even stop to get a loaf of bread in between.
It became blatantly obvious that the RCMP was withholding information from Daniela. files obtained through the Freedom of Information Act turned up blacked out paragraphs. I've encountered similar issues through the Freedom of Information Act in the release of details.
Okay, that's weird because this first case, I was just going to say, I don't see the UFO connection here. I mean, it's strange. The guy went missing and his pistol's way up in the bush. His clothes are folded at the beach. His dogs are locked in the trailer. But I wasn't making a UFO connection here. But now they're kind of getting into the fact that there's blacked out paragraphs on the report. The guys wouldn't search the bush. They told the rest of the search units, hey, it's not even worth going in the bush, which is weird.
Definitely strange. Why would there be folded clothes? I mean, even if somebody took something and was hiding it, it wouldn't be folded.
This isn't the first case that I've heard of these folded clothes. There's numerous cases where guys' stuff is found and it's neatly folded, like they took it off and they just left it there with their boots sitting on top of their folded clothes. Yeah, not the first case. It's strange. But now, if that's the case, okay, the guy gets abducted by aliens. Aliens aren't going to fold his clothes. Like, what's going on? It still doesn't make sense.
Well, maybe they wash and iron everything for him. You never know. They got a little business going. Chinese aliens, could be. But anyways, well, they've always said that, well, from movies, the aliens came here looking for gold.
Yes,
that's story. So who knows?
There is that connection.
I don't dismiss anything in this world because I have seen more. In my lifetime, I've heard things, seen things. Don't understand them, but who says that they're that crazy just because we don't understand them?
Well, and on that note, I was reminded, talking with Grant last week, I told him we were going to watch this. And, I was asking, do you ever remember seeing a spacecraft, like an actual physical? And he said no, and I agree to that. I don't ever remember seeing that. We have both seen light orbs and things moving across the lake. But he reminded me of another time when we were kids, probably 10 or 12 years old, staying at your house, and we used to sleep in the living room. You had the pull-out couch. Do you remember a night where we were both yelling, hey, there's a blue light? And a blue light came over the woods, right into the yard, and did like a circle in front of the big picture window, and then disappeared off over the hill again. And he reminded me, I completely forgot about that. And that is not the first time, well, that probably was the first time. That's not the only time I've seen a blue light. We came back from golfing here one night, 2 years ago. There was 4 of us sitting on Tom's deck having a beer, and a blue light came over the top of those trees, maybe 200, 300 yards up. Quiet, no sound, just like a ball of blue light, and did a big circle. It came, circled over my house, and disappeared back towards the south. And all 4 of us saw it.
Well, it's only a couple of years ago. We had a little fire going outside. Megan was there, her boyfriend. We had a beer, and I said, "Oh, looking up at the sky. Oh, look at that high moving. What is that?" And there was a light going. It was quite high, real high, and it was going. All of a sudden, we're both looking at that, and all of a sudden, woof! There was a great big flame come out of the back of it. You don't see that in a plane or something else.
No.
We both seen that. It was just like it hit accelerated speed, and there was a big flame come out of that, and away it went, and it was high.
I have never seen that.
But
I've never even heard that story.
saw that. Megan saw it too.
So now we've got elk being abducted by small craft. What do you think of that?
It's different. Usually they find their cattle and animals that are mutilated in the pastures. Not one that everybody sees. It's lifted into the air and taken along. And
no, but they have talked about seeing lights and things moving in the sky the same nights that these happen. So.
Oh yeah, it's definitely.
Now this guy says they found an elk with no injuries on it. I would say they couldn't confirm that is the exact elk. But the strange part is he says it was 7 days later. Why wouldn't something have eaten it? Right? Unless it was the same, because they talk about that on Skinwalker Ranch where they say
nothing touches it, yeah.
The cow
nothing
died
touches
and nothing came to feed on it.
To feed on, yeah, that's what they say.
Why would that be? Maybe some kind of radiation or something?
Could well be, something like that, yeah. Or it could have been too well done. Some people like it rare, medium rare. I mean, if you can elevate something up into the air and take it along with you like that, maybe you got all kinds of, you can do all kinds of tests right there as you're going along. Why did they even have to move it? Who knows? But who knows? We don't know.
Why would they grab it in front of witnesses? Right? You think if that's the case and they didn't care, we would see this happening all the time. But there's more than one witness, so that makes it more believable that it's just not some guy making this up. I don't know.
Who knows? We would never understand. The answers are out there.
Yeah, out there.
Out there for sure.
Did you draw that?
I did draw this.
Is that what it looked like?
That's as similar as what I could come up with.
Okay, I have something to add here because everybody thought I was crazy. In 2014, I took a picture in the daylight. It was a kind of a day like today. It was cloudy, so it was bright daylight but cloudy, and I could see the circle of the sun up beyond the clouds and above a tree. And I took a picture of that for some reason. And when I got home, I don't know why, I was cropping the image or something to my taste, and I had zoomed in, and I could see a perfect triangle in this image, and it looked like a little smoke ring or something behind it. And I had never seen anything like this. I posted it online, and immediately everyone said, oh, that's just an artifact from the pixels on the camera. And I said, I've taken 100,000 photos with this camera. I've never seen a perfect triangle like this, and I will input it in this video, guys, to show you. Because what he's showing on the screen here now, these triangles are talking about, I've seen a few of these online posted where guys have taken video and pictures of it. It's like, it's not a solid triangle, it's like an outline of a triangle. Alright, I found a clip that was posted this week in one of the UFO groups I belong to, and I had to show you guys this. Take a look at this clip. Tell me that that does not look familiar. A three-sided triangle that is not a solid triangle. It has a great outline. Did I not show you guys something very similar to this? Here's what I showed you guys. This was a picture I took back in 2014. And this is what this guy captured over Amsterdam this last week. I'm telling you guys, there's something to this. I'm not crazy, and he's not crazy. I think I captured that same object back in 2014 in a photograph. And this would have been way the hell up there in front, and it was in front of the sun, so anybody who would have been looking at that would have never seen it. If you didn't take a picture, it's just too bright, you would never see it.
I don't know, I've never seen that picture before. You never showed me. Oh,
I'll show you. When we're done this video, I'll show you this.
oh yeah, I believe that for sure.
And I posted it twice because years went by after the first time I posted it, and everyone said, oh, you're crazy.
No, they don't want to know this sort of thing as much as they can avoid the knowledge of this. No.
One other thing I should mention in this video, it is a strange thing that happened. You may remember me telling you about this many years ago. My wife and I have been together 28 years now, so it probably would have been 24 years ago. One night, many years ago, when we were in university, both of us were tired, went to bed early, extremely early, 8:30, 9 o'clock. We were both exhausted. We go to bed. The middle of the night, we wake up. And the strange thing was, we both woke up at the same time, and we looked at each other, and we were on the wrong side of the bed. And it was just, we were like dumbfounded, like, hey, what are you doing in my spot? What am I doing in your spot? You know, and we've told family and people about this over the years, and everyone kind of jokes and says, oh, great, one of you guys got up and went to the bathroom and got back in on the wrong side of bed. No, in 28 years of being together, that has never happened other than that one time. It was the strangest. We were both super groggy, and it has never happened since. And I'll tell you, I mean, I know when I get up and go to the bathroom, I get back in on my side of the side of the bed. It's strange.
Don't know what to say to that, but if it happened, it happened.
And the only other thing worth mentioning is that 3 times in my life, I have had what they refer to as sleep paralysis. Actually, that's a great thing to bring up because I want to know, have you ever experienced that? Do you know what sleep paralysis is? It's where you're asleep, you wake up, but you can't move. So
Well, it had to be something like that, yeah.
So the experts say that you are still in a dream state because you can't control your body, which is weird to me because it's only happened 3 times.
No, I never had that. I couldn't move that time when I heard the voice come through my room. I sat straight up because I thought somebody had broke into my house.
Well, this sleep paralysis that I experienced 3 times that I can remember, one when I was a kid, and actually all 3 of them occurred at Grandma and Papa's house, so it was the same place. But once when I was a kid, and I swore, I was 7 or 8, I swore that somebody had walked up beside me and I couldn't move and grabbed me by the shoulder. And before that, I remember telling my grandfather when I went to bed that there was something under my bed. And so that night I had that where I woke up, I could see the room, the moonlight coming through, and I could see there was another bed at the foot of my bed because it was an open upstairs. And there was 6 or 7 beds up there, at Grandma's house. And my uncle used to sleep at so my bed was this way and my uncle's bed was against the far wall over here. And I could not move. And I just remember something grabbing me by the shoulder and then basically like passing out even though I was awake. And I remember that from I was a little kid, like 6, 7. And then again, it happened when I was a teenager. And it never happened in any time that I can remember in between that, but Cousin James had come up for the summer. So I was maybe 17, 18, and he's a couple of years younger than me. And we were out, doing our party thing all summer. And we both stayed at Grandma's one night. And we woke up and both of us had had the same thing happen the same night. And I remember clearly what happened to me that night was I woke up and the room was full of multicolored lights. The whole room was like flashing lights. And again, I couldn't move. And there were aliens! Honest to God. And so my cousin brought it up the next morning to me. He goes, have you ever had, I don't know what we called it, we didn't call it sleep paralysis, but he described what they now refer to as sleep paralysis. And I said, yeah. I said, I had it last night. And he said it as well. And, back then it was just an unknown thing. We never talked about it. It's weird. And I've always wondered because my mother's a twin. And so his mother is my mother's twin. And then I'm a twin. I just wondered if there was something to do with us being that close in relation. Could we have been abducted? I don't know. I'm not saying I was. But it seemed weird that both of us had this sleep paralysis on the same night.
Or else, wasn't that a party?
No, we weren't. There was no... we had a hard time getting our hands on a case of beer back in the day because we never had enough money. So there wouldn't have been any more than that going on. But
There were some local ranchers that walked up and talked to him. And these people said that during the time Reinhardt was gone, they had seen unusual lights in the sky here.
For it.
Carl Higdon.
So I told my wife I was gonna go south and go hunting.
Okay, the guy's talking about shooting elk and the bullet hitting an invisible barrier, and you're over here going,
I was just thinking that's probably why I missed so many animals. I've been hitting invisible forts.
Oh, okay. I thought you had some theory for me.
No, I figured that's why.
I find it really cool that he actually grabbed the bullet. That's...
that he found it, yeah.
Well, it just adds a credibility that, hey, what he's saying, he saw it, and it was so strange that he actually thought to grab. Most people would have been, I'd probably be running out of there. If something like that weird happened, I don't know. If I ever, I can't even imagine seeing something
Well,
like that.
I've been abducted many times when I didn't show up for work on Monday morning. That's what I've told them anyways over the years. But
Wait a minute. I just got to mention this. He's talking about a cube in the woods. I'm telling you, we saw the same thing back here, and I talked about it in a video. I looked out, and I could see a white, shiny, rectangle in the trees, and I didn't know what the heck I was looking at. We talked about it in a video back here. I just looked up, and it was a strange reflection of a rectangle. I actually grabbed the camera and went out to investigate. I'm like, what is that? You know when you see something in the bush that's different? And I could see like a white square back here in the tree line. It's gray, it's cloudy, it's rainy today. So it wasn't a patch of sunlight or something like that. I walked in here where I could see it, and now I don't see it. Okay, now it's just getting weird. An alien shows up and drifts pills over to him. I don't know about that. Well, is that any more weird than the rest of the story? Really, I guess? I don't...
hey, I can't knock nobody's story. Maybe the guy was on the pills before he got there. Maybe he wasn't. I know what's happened to me in this world, and that's all I can say. And everybody else, there's some people you can tell the story to, and some people you can't. Some people will always think you're full of beans, crazy, whatever, but we know. All of us know what happens to us.
We know there's more
to this world than what we
things.
can put a finger on.
Yes, exactly.
Guaranteed.
And then he goes on to say there's elk in the spacecraft. So again, this kind of ties into the one from earlier where they saw the elk being carried over the mountain.
Yeah, but they didn't say, they just said it was in the air. It wasn't inside anything, but...
Well, I'm sure it probably ended up inside the mothership. That'd be just like a pickup unit, right? Like a forklift. Okay, not understanding where this case is going. Now they're talking about finding Carl as he's dropped out of the spacecraft. And they're going to shoot him if need be. I'm not sure why. What? That would make it sound like they've dealt with some kind of weird case before and had to shoot the guy. Like, you don't just go on a search and rescue mission and pull a gun on the guy when you find him. Like, that's
No,
weird.
that's something that's off the books, that's for sure. And she's letting the beans out of the pot there now.
Well, again, so this seems weird to me that they take the guy, they heal him, right? Make him better. And I've heard other cases like this. But then why the hell would they drop him out of a spacecraft? Like,
They didn't need him.
I know, but they took the time to make him better, and then they're just gonna.
Well, they just
drop
did that for the good of mankind. For him, he just he was okay, and he just wasn't viable for reproduction. That's all.
Well, I get that part, but why would you take somebody, help them, and then say, "Hey, we're gonna drop you in. Hopefully, you survive this. See you later, Carl."
Oh, I don't think they just dropped him from miles up and he landed there, unless it was a soft
Well, it
touch.
sounds like they dropped him from a height that he said he rolled down the hillside, and he ended up in the hospital for days. They weren't gentle with him.
Well,
This leads me to another point that we get about all these people that talk about being abducted, and why I think it wouldn't be such a terrible thing if you were abducted. They always get put back, right?
well, not apparently. There was lots of people missing, never showed up again.
Okay, so if the missing people are accounted for by alien abduction, then that's true. But what about all the people that come back and they say, "Oh, I've been taken multiple times and examined 50 times in my life," you know? So, I don't know.
Lots of people say that, for sure. Seems to run in families.
Yeah. You know, and you've got me thinking...
And blood types.
Watching this video has just got me more and more thinking about all the strange lights I've seen in the sky over my years, that cube thing and everything else, and the sleep paralysis. I'm beginning to wonder here. Is there more to our story that we don't know about?
Well, there could well be.
Okay, so Carl goes on to say that he figures that if he was viable for reproduction, he wouldn't have been coming back.
That's what he said.
So, you're
So-
right.
So it's quite, so everybody should have one that's out in the bush.
Yeah, make sure you're not viable for reproduction. And I'll tell you, I know how good the birds are, because you guys know I run trail cameras out here, and I took fish fillets that didn't smell so good anymore, threw them out on a log in there, and the next day we had turkey vultures. The next day, and it was full June leaves everywhere in the trees. I don't know, they must smell it.
Oh, of course. That's what they're doing.
But I mean, flying by, they must smell that or something, because there's no way they could have seen those. And I got some awesome shots of turkey vultures, which we don't see a whole lot of around here, but anything that's dead out there, they find it, and they find it quick. Okay, now we're getting out there again where Pat McGuire is told by aliens to dig a well, and he does. And then Dave goes on to talk about that they have this zone where there's no alien abductions, and that's an underground aquifer. And then he goes on to say that the aliens could be hiding in the aquifer and using Pat McGuire's well to come and go as they please. Does that not just seem ludicrous? I mean, I'm a believer in weird stuff, but that just seems a little, like, you're drawing a pretty big, weird conclusion there.
It's strange.
Why wouldn't they just hide in a lake somewhere then?
Become USOs
Yeah.
instead of UFOs.
But
Unidentified submersible objects.
if they were already there, then they wouldn't need humans to dig wells for them. You know, like, that just doesn't make sense to me, guys. I don't know. I find that a little bit of a weird conclusion to that whole thing.
Well, with their technology, for sure.
And how big was this guy's well? Like, it doesn't say that he dug a 20-foot diameter well or something, you know? Like, how big are these UFOs coming out of this thing? Like, I'm confused. I don't know. False alarm. They just cleared it up. There's going to be a global cataclysm, and fresh water is going to be needed in that area, according to the aliens. I feel much better knowing that now that they've explained what's going on. Because, man, I was confused there for a minute. All right, so there it is. Missing 411 UFO connection. What do you think?
Strange. Don't know what to think of that, really. I mean, my God, there's people gone missing. Where did they go? I mean, I believe in aliens. Some people don't believe in anything, but I mean, to me, that's just everyday occurrence. There's more to this place than what we'll ever believe. I've seen enough things.
Plausible. And as Dave says in the movie, it kind of gives answers to the cases that they can't answer, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm familiar with a lot of his other cases, so I can draw conclusions where they didn't even talk about them in the video, where guys looked like they were dropped from the sky.
But
he very specifically drew in on the hunters, again in this one, elk hunters, and he talks about in a lot of his other cases German heritage. But I mean, we all have German heritage, right? Great-grandma was German on Mom's side. So, again, that's something that I find, I think you'd think everybody has a little hint of German in there you could tie a connection to, so I don't know.
German, Irish, Scottish.
Yeah, we're all not from here, so I think I like it better when Dave doesn't draw conclusions, because up until this movie, he has never said, you know, Bigfoot's taking people, aliens taking people, there are other dimensions, there are this or there are that, and he just kind of leaves it open, which as an investigative reporter, I think that's probably the better route to go, is show everything and keep an open mind. But I think in this one he draws a dangerous line of pointing to alien abduction for some of these cases, which, hey, it's plausible, but...
Where did people go? Surely there'd be some kind of scent for dogs to chase and whatever, and to smell and whatever this and that.
I agree, it solves a lot of these questions that they have. But again, we're at the point where you can't tell people's families of somebody who's missing, like, hey, it looks like he was abducted by aliens, you know, like, that's just, we're not at that stage yet. There is a lot of disclosure happening, but we're not there yet.
There's a lot of government that knows what's going on in this world, but we just don't throw it out to us because of most of the public would just panic.
Well, that's the other thing too, is they talk about all these disappearances that are right here, and they're right beside a U.S. airbase. And I'm thinking, hey, it makes more sense that the government could be taking these people and doing experiments, or...
Never thought about that, but of course that could be. Rolly told me all his trucking days, he was down in some place in the States. He said, and a trooper pulled up beside him because he was parked over here, and he says, he was near an airbase. He said, oh, don't, he said, I know you're parked here, you're pretty beat, you're tired, he says, but keep your truck locked. He said, and keep your sidearm with you tonight. I said, I don't have a sidearm. I'm Canadian. We're not allowed to carry guns around with us. He said, oh, I didn't realize that. But it said it was right across from an airbase. He told me that 2 days ago in the States.
You never know. I would probably distrust the American government more than aliens. Sorry, guys, because I know most of you are American, but that's the truth.
Well, I wouldn't trust the Canadian government either. I'll tell you,
The
God.
Canadian government doesn't have the funds to pull off what the American government
No.
So, are we going to come back and do the first movie at some point? Because that's the third movie in the series, and we've never watched the first one.
Well, we'll have to do the first then, yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you when we do Missing 411, the first movie.
Yeah. Okay for now.